appropriately ramp up.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the Marketing Trench Podcast. Today we are going to be talking with a friend of Scott Shang's, or I don't know if Alan, you call yourself a friend. People don't normally disclose that in public, but someone that knows Scott Shang, Alan Christian. He is a mortgage loan professional, but before that, he was a real estate agent. He's also a real estate investor. He knows the industry well, and we're all very excited about today's topic. So let's set for some context. As we're recording this, the market is absolutely insane. And on the escrow side, we hear these stories every single day, right? It's a home goes up for sale, gets 20 or more offers. A lot of these offers are coming in over asking. I had one of our regular clients say that he presented an offer $100,000 over asking that got accepted, right? But like just barely got accepted, sort of thing. Now that's an extreme situation, but we are regularly seeing tens of thousands of dollars in California over asking right now. And, you know, if you're a buyer, you're out there and you're feeling totally defeated and you're thinking, okay, I'm not a high net worth individual. I'm not an investor. I'm not somebody that can just walk in all cash. How in the world can I compete? Well, Alan is the guy that you should be talking to because he is helping his clients who are taking loans out and competing against all cash buyers. So we're going to be talking about that. How's he doing it? What's his strategy? And, you know, maybe there are going to be a couple takeaways for real estate agents or for other mortgage professionals, because that's how Alan's approaching this as a mortgage professional, trying to, you know, some takeaways to help you be competitive in this all cash market. And at a high level, we're talking about how he leverages stories to be all competitive in an all cash market. So that's what we're up to today. Alan, thanks for joining us. How are you doing?
Honored to be here. Thank you so much.
So before we dive right into the topic, just can you give us a 30-second snapshot of your history and how you got to where you are today?
In college, I always wanted to be a real estate investor and wound up getting my real estate license right out of college. Sold homes for a very short time. New person, didn't know a whole lot about it, and actually got out of the industry. Went in for about a year and a half, but I bought my very first home. I think I was 23 or 24. And that experience of buying a home, getting a loan was a great experience. I had a friend that was actually a mortgage broker and said, Alan, I was at another job. It was kind of dead end. He said, you know, you're great with people. You're great with numbers. You got to look at the mortgage business. So I got in the mortgage business. Same time was buying a lot of properties. I had a real estate license. So I've got a lot of background there. But professionally, I'm a lender. I'm a broker. It's all I do. I joke that my retirement, my wife takes care of because of all of the properties we have. But I will say that I changed my thought pattern this past year when things got so tough. And I thought, well, wait just a minute. I have to say, I'm really good at negotiations. I'm great with people. And I realized I was leaving myself and my story for somebody else. It's almost the round robin. You get 10 kids and the first person's told the story. By the time it gets to the last person, it's not even the same thing anymore. Mm-hmm. And I realized I need to take all of these skills I've learned and start implementing it in this market. And I've had some pretty good successes with it. And it's been a fun experience so far.
Awesome. Okay. So let's dive into today's topic. What are you doing just kind of at a high level to make your clients, your borrowers competitive in an all cash market?
Number one, I don't allow surprises. So every single client that we work with is completely underwritten the whole way through. And I tell them, you're going to be like a cash deal when you make the offer. So we don't let them get in the car till it's 100% done. Before they make the offer, before the agent even calls the listing agent, the client, because the client actually tells me this most of the time, not the realtor, I reach out to the listing agent and I call them on the phone. I text them, I email them, I video them. I've hit them every which way but loose and let them know you've got an offer on the way. If you've already got 10 other offers, you need to wait till this one gets to you from Lynn, because this is like a cash deal. This loan, there's going to be a pre-qualification letter, but as you know, most pre-qualification letters are not worth the paper they're written on. They all laugh because they know it's true. Mm-hmm. So I explain what we've done. Tell them all we need to do is get through title and appraisal and get through the inspection. It's a done deal. But I follow up and say, I'm going to send you an email and a video directed to your sellers. I want you to send this email and video to your sellers because I want them to see who's the person bringing the money. because the magic is not about getting a lot of offers. The magic's not about getting under contract. The magic is actually closing it. So my ultimate big picture, I want to talk to the sellers. That's who I'm after.
That's awesome.
Do you get any pushback when you're positioning it that way?
Yeah. Oh yeah. And here's the funny thing, and I use BombBomb for this. When I started, when I started calling sellers when we were under contract, I started asking them, did you get my email and video? And some of them said, yeah. And I asked them to make a difference, and it definitely was. I had some that were calling me asking, like, is this legit? Like, we got 15 other offers and we didn't get none of this stuff. And it was the tipping point. But then I found out also, a lot of them said, we never got the email or video. And so I realized a lot of these agents are submitting an Excel spreadsheet with a bunch of numbers. Others of them are not doing their job. And then there's others that are like, they literally got an ego problem. This is my deal. I'm running the show. And they didn't want me. Like, you can't, I mean, I asked for the seller's number. They won't give it to me. That's my client. I'm not going to give it to you, even when we're under contract. So yes, I definitely get kickback. But I also realized my client is the buyer, and there's a family there. And if I can reach the sellers, and I'm not trying to be the realtor, I'm trying to be the relationship connector. And if I can convey the story of how qualified they are, and it's not about who they are as the people, but how qualified they are, the importance of our loan and where we are and what's happening in the marketplace. You may have 5 other cash offers, but my loan's better than your cash deal. And I tell them the philosophy behind it. I want them second guessing all the other offers and saying, I want to blow them out of the park with what we're doing and say, this guy's real. Here's the links to all my reviews. He's local. He's put himself out there. They feel that much more confident, because what matters is, are we going to close? So I'm trying to put a level of confidence there when I do that. But yes, do I get kickback? Absolutely, I do.
Okay, so I want to grab on something you just mentioned in your process, or rather, what you think the listing agents are doing in their process.
Right.
So you would mention that listing agents are basically just presenting their clients with an Excel spreadsheet, and on this spreadsheet are numbers. Right here's an offer. Here are the totals. If I'm a listing agent, what is wrong with that? Like, ultimately, isn't my goal to get my client the highest offer I possibly can?
Here's the problem. They want to get them the highest offer, but for some reason they have the opinion, if I'm going to get an offer of 500,000, but I get you 510, I'm a better person and I'm a hero. I don't think it's necessarily about their commission. I don't think that. I think they're trying to look good for their client. But the problem is they're not conveying to them, hey, if I got a pre-qual letter from some internet nobody I know nothing about, what if it doesn't close? I think most of them are just too doggone scared. They're so excited to have an offer. It does take extra work to reach out, and most lenders don't do what I do. So they're trying to track these people down, or they're so busy they don't have time to do it. So they're just throwing numbers out there saying, hey, I think this is highest price. Let's go with it. And the problem is they don't have time to reach out to 35 lenders and say, tell me how qualified they are. They're just too doggone busy. So I'm trying to take a different approach to reach out to them proactively, to them and to the sellers.
What if the highest offer is an all cash offer?
Here's a problem with all cash. Most all cash offers, these folks have got lots of money. And from what I have been seeing, they're the ones that are going out and they're making offers on 8, 9, 10 houses, way above list price, way above list price. They're getting 8 or 9 of those offers actually accepted. And then because they feel like they're the one driving the cart in everything, I don't know if it's an attitude, but they just feel like they're the top of the chain. Then they go back in and decide which one they actually want. So they're terminating. So they're looking at lots of different houses. They don't have as much skin in the game because they just got one bank statement. Hey, I'm good. They haven't had to go through, because I put people through the ringer. I mean, I get everything. So when I reach out to somebody, I tell them, you're probably going to get 5, 6, 7, 8 cash offers. And I tell them, my clients are not looking at anybody else's house but yours. And what I see with the others, there's multiple offers going out. And I tell them what we've put them through and how hard it is. So they realize if there's any so-called commitment, my clients have that much more commitment than a cash deal.
That's a really good point. I didn't even really think about that. I don't know why I just never wrap my head around that, but you're right. Most all cash offers, at least in this market right now, I mean, there's hedge funds out there that are making offers on these houses, and they're just making blanket offers all over the place because they're going to rent service them, right, for a little while. They don't care what they pay for it because they know there's no inventory. They know equities are going to be driven up, and they know rents are up because there's no housing available. So they're playing a numbers game too. They're making offers from a spreadsheet. You know, and you're right. You know what? Just because they made an offer doesn't mean that they're going to end up buying your house.
That is the biggest misnomer. You're so spot on, because as an investor, and I have friends that have hedge funds, and we've got private money, and they'll go out and make fit their job. Their job description is go out and get 15 offers accepted. The next day they go walk the houses and decide which one they want, and then they terminate. So the cash offer should scare people because they don't know the backstory. I know enough about the backstory for the majority of them of what's going on. I think it's something that should concern people.
Ellen, how much do you think, because I know it used to be this way, but how much do you think, you know, people lived in the home for a little while, how much do you think they care about having a new family move in? I mean, sometimes people have, you know, raised their kids in the house and they're moving and they're like, you know, we want this experience for another family. Does that exist?
So we talked about this in our weekly meetings. And it's funny because one of our gals in Washington, she just sold her house, and she said, we got all the, you know, your standard love letters, and they were nice, and we kind of cared, but ultimately we went with the highest and best offer.
Okay.
So that was kind of the sentiment we were getting. So, but that's just based on, you know, one or two experiences. So I am curious.
Let me tell you too, and these are, I try to put the human element in everything. Now, there's some folks, it's just money. They don't care. That's okay. I just had a friend of mine that I helped with their home. They wound up selling it. We're helping them with the next house. But here, his home, he raised his two boys in, swimming pool, playground, built the backyard out and all that. And he called me about these offers because he was wanting to negotiate, was wanting to ask me my opinion. And he found out one of the buyers was a single guy, no family, no kids, and had I don't know how it found out, but it found out he had no intention of keeping the pool, was going to fill it in, tear out the garden and tear out the plaything because he wanted to put, I don't know what he was going to do, but he was going to basically change everything about it. There was another family, and I actually wound up doing a loan for that family. There was a family with two young kids. I almost want to cry, honest to God, that wanted this house, and they wrote a letter about that. And he called and said, Alan, it's $10,000 less, but I want their family raising their kids where mine grew up. And that's why he took it. So it's not always there. And one other couple made an offer as the backup offer and called and said, it's already under contract. And I said, if you want it and it's supposed to happen, it's going to work, write a letter. And I told them to write a letter, and I told them to take a picture of themselves in the front yard with the house in the background with their family. And I submitted it to them. And it turned out that I actually knew the listing agent. Well, it turns out that my family had an adopted child, and they mentioned that. And they mentioned about where they go to church and schools. Well, funny thing was, the sellers had an adopted child from the same agency. They were having a disaster problem with the buyers during the inspection. They basically made a high offer, got it accepted, and they were eating them alive on the inspection, which is what's happening to try to get them down. And the sellers called me back, and the listing agent who actually knows me in my market and called and said, if they want this house, and they literally dropped the price $25,000 and gave it to my clients, and they live in the house today.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's
I guess that's the important thing is that when you pursue that human element, those are the offers that you're going to get accepted, that people are going to, that they're going to resonate with. Alan, why don't you dive in a little bit more in a little bit more detail, because I've seen a couple of your stories that you're delivering to the seller, and they're very, very interesting. Lay that out a little bit on how you put that together, what what that sounds like and what it looks like?
One of the things I do when I reach out, and this is like so around the corner, but I will pull up. Can can you see my screen, or can I share that? Can I share my screen?
Yeah.
You want me to do that?
I think we can
Yeah.
share the screen. Let me see if I know how to do that.
Do you have, Alan, do you see a share button down?
I do. Share screen. Let me see.
Just click the share screen and we'll pop it up on the screen. It'll ask you what window do you want to share.
There we go.
Yep.
Yeah.
So can y'all see this screen?
Not yet, but I'm looking. I can see it internally. There we go. Okay, I'm going to put it up now.
There we go. I put it up.
Can y'all see it?
Yep.
Up, and let me move something around here. There we go.
Okay. So we're in BombBomb. So I'm going to hover over this and open it. So we closed this a week or so ago. So I didn't know the listing agent. I reached out and went to her. I started out on her Facebook page. Why? Because I wanted her to see herself and open it up. Well, I also found out who the sellers were. We pulled it up on tax records and pulled them up on Facebook. Well, guess what? Because I'm local in my market, I had like 18 friends in common with these people, go to church with them. So I started out the video here. Then I went to their Facebook page. Then I hovered over the friends we had. I mentioned a bunch of people that we were friends with. Then I went over to the actual house, and I pulled up the Zillow or wherever for the house. And then as I'm talking about the offer you're going to get, it's like a cash deal. I'm scrolling up and down with pictures of their house. And I stopped on a bedroom and said, oh my gosh, because you could tell their daughter was raised there because of the color. I said, oh my gosh, this is great. My family actually has a little girl. They love this. This is awesome. So I made it as personal as I could be. Talked about the house, how beautiful it was, the family looking to buy it. And I did put a human element to it, conveyed also how qualified they were. I mentioned my realtor, said, hey, I don't know if y'all have worked with, Lynn. Not only is she a great realtor, she's just an awesome person to work with. It's going to be a great, easy, smooth experience. I'm local. I mentioned all these personal things to it, but I'm on their house and it just adds that huge element to it. So it's a 2-minute long video. And when you open it, it's a short message. It goes to their video. But then I also have links to all my reviews, my Google, my Zillow, my personal Facebook page. And guys, I will tell you, I've had people almost stop the share.
Do you want to play that for us? Give us a couple minutes. Watch the whole thing.
Will it play?
Let's try it. Let's see if it does it.
Should.
Can you hear it?
Oh, well, you have to share the screen again.
Oh, my bad. Oh, guys, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. But I think it would be really great. We don't have to necessarily watch the whole thing, but it would be kind of nice to see an example, if you don't mind sharing, just so that we can see how you start your videos. And
yeah, let me go back. I'm sorry, guys. Hang on. All right, I'm back on screen. So I need to go back and share the screen.
Yep.
All right.
And then our producer, Ricardo's mom, can put it up.
There we go. All right, so let's go back. So here's the video.
Oh, I'm not hearing the audio, unfortunately.
Can't hear it at all?
No, that's okay.
Okay. I can add it. Let me see if it gets through. Hang on one second. Kimberly, Alan Christian. Hey, you see that? Almost cash offer coming. I just wanted to pull you up. And hey, we I don't know that we've met, but I know who you are. And we have got like all these super cool friends in common. Hey, you are getting an offer on your listing from Lisa Shudell probably in the next couple of hours. If you've got any other offers, you need to wait till this one gets here. This is like a cash deal. And the reason I say that, I'm doing the financing on it. And this really this message is to be sent over to Lauren, the seller, because I want her to see this. Is really directed to her. This is almost like a cash deal. And the reason I say that, there's going to be a pre-qualification / pre-approval letter attached with the offer. But as you know, most pre-qualification letters are not worth the paper they're written on because nobody's actually done anything. They're normally a 5-minute phone call and nobody's checked. We already have pay stubs, bank statements, tax returns. Is that enough?
Yeah, I mean, I felt hooked. I don't know about the rest of you guys, but I'm really into this video.
Well, I'll tell you something that I saw Alan do that blew my mind. And I don't know if it was that video, but you had mentioned another agent that you worked with out of their office.
Yeah.
You said, I don't know if you know Kelly, but we closed a deal with her a couple of months ago, so she knows how we do business, or something like along those lines.
Yep.
And that tie-in, I was just mind blown. I was just like, that is so amazing to really tie that together. That was really, really cool. It doesn't even have to be in their office, though, does it? It could be, hey, in the Remax office across town.
That's it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to add credibility, but I will say when I send this, and what I found out was a lot of the agents are not sending this over to the seller. And once again, if they've got 30 offers, but I also know if they're getting an Excel spreadsheet, are they actually looking at all this? Probably not. So some of these folks, I found them on LinkedIn, because it's not hard if you want to take a little bit of time. And right now, if you're trying to get an offer accepted, by God, I can take 5 minutes and see if you're on Facebook or LinkedIn or Instagram. And one of them, I sent the email, because you can do it in BombBomb. I found them on Facebook. I sent them the Facebook Instant Messenger. I sent them the video there with my digital card and all that. And I also found them on LinkedIn and sent it there. So, and I did say, your realtor's probably, and I said the realtor's name, your Carol's probably really, really busy with all of your offers. I wanted to help her make sure that you get this to watch. Go, this is really important. So then they watched the video. So I knew for a fact they got it. So they're getting it. And I am trying to go around the listing agent, not to cut them out of the picture. I want them involved the whole way through, but in the event that they don't send it, don't want to send it, don't have time to send it, I know as an investor, y'all, I've gone and knocked on doors before, and I actually had somebody selling their house. A client in the neighborhood, and my community was making an offer. I stopped at their house on the way home from work. I went and knocked on the door, and the house had just gone listed. And I had a conversation and said, hey, and so I mean, that's out there. But as an investor, I know how to get offers accepted. I know how to get recognized. And my goal is, of all these offers, I want you just look at mine, question the others you've got, and it may be the tipping point.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you handle some of that pushback, or what are some scenarios of how you've handled some of that pushback? Like, why are you contacting my client?
I haven't. I tell them that we work as a team. We are trying to help 2 families sell their homes. I just want to let them know, as a professional courtesy, I'm the guy bringing the money. And I thought they'd like to know that I'm local or wherever I'm doing the deal. I wanted to know who was the one bringing the money. So I want to shoot them over a personal message, congratulate you on doing such a great job. So I'm promoting their realtor. I'm trying to tell them I'm going to promote you, but I poise it as a professional courtesy to let them know who I am. And in the event we go under contract, a little bit of who my team is, to give them a level of comfort in the process. Now, I don't always have agents like that. And some of them flat out won't talk to me. They hang up on me. They want nothing to do with it. But I will tell you, I've had sellers that did reach out, and they were not happy with their agent for not sending it over. Because I have some of my agents that truly buy into this. I'm written into the contract. It's written into the special steps that an email and video was sent to your agent from the Allen Christian Mortgage team that is supposed to be sent directly to you. This special email video goes directly with the offer, pre-qualification, and earnest money. Be sure to ask your realtor for it. And I've had folks that sellers saw it and then asked the realtor, well, where's this thing? Where's this email video? and the agent didn't like it. And you can tell it's an adversarial position, because they, for whatever reason, sometimes feel like they want to run the entire show. And if somebody steps in, it takes some of their thunder. And that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to just let them know, because I do feel this way. If you take another offer and it falls apart a week before closing, which I get a lot of deals that we're the backup offer. And they reach out to us, because I tell them, if you don't take our offer, or if we don't get it, I still call the seller and I still mail a card to the seller's house and say, if your first deal doesn't work out, I want to be your very first phone call. And I had this last week, the seller, not the agent. The seller called me and said, Alan, we're a week before closing. Their loan, we just found out, got denied. And I said, didn't you have an approval letter? Yeah, we did have an approval letter, but it got denied.
Cheap paper.
Yes. Do your clients still want the house? And they did. So I was the one calling the agent saying, hey, y'all still want to make this deal work? And they were flabbergasted. Now, I am not being a realtor. Don't misunderstand that. I'm orchestrating a relationship and the value of what we do. But I had the seller do that. So, but I do get, there's no question, I get kickback. I definitely do. And the ones that want to work through, it's a great experience. The ones that don't, it's okay.
Yeah, we talk about this a lot. We talk about the difference between a scarcity mindset and an abundance mindset. And you're always going to get pushback. And like when I listen to this, I'm like, ooh, aren't people going to get mad? Aren't people going to do this? But the alternative, if you're doing nothing, you're getting no reaction. There's no emotion. You're just a number. So if you're either getting people really, really mad at you or really, really happy with you, I would say that that's a best possible outcome. So Alan, I am sure you have some great stories of agents that maybe got mad at you at first or maybe wasn't sure, but then they took a second to say, oh my gosh, this guy's doing cool stuff. I wonder if I could work with this lender, right? That happens, right?
That actually, it's a problem right now. It's a scale problem because, and I had that happen recently. The agent was not happy about it, but by the time we were binding, and I have what I consider what I call the first 48 hours as kind of a wow factor. By the time they get all the communication that we deliver and their client does, when the first typically 48 hours, they realize we are on our game. And I tell them, you will judge every lender relationship differently for the rest of your career after we work together one time. We just do some really cool stuff. And I have folks, sometimes we're 2 weeks into a transaction and they say, Alan, can I refer you somebody? It happens consistently, but I'm also asking my team, how are they to work with? How do they understand what we do? Because I run a very structured business, and what I do is not for everybody. Some agents don't want to work with me because they don't like the fact that I am so structured with, I won't let a client go out till they're approved. And some of them don't like what I do. They don't want to relinquish what they think is some of the control. And that's okay. But I ultimately am trying to help some families sell some homes. But I do know there's some folks that are not great in our industry, and I know what we do is. So I'm trying to put those people together.
Shh, Ricardo can hear you.
That's actually, I was going to say, once you'll look at all lenders differently after we do this transaction. That's actually one of Ricardo's pickup lines.
Is it?
Yeah. He's like, you're going to judge all other people differently after.
Oh my God.
but no, you've also, when we were talking the other day, you've recently had what, out of the last 10 escrows you've opened, the last 10 offers you've accepted, how many of those were you able to verify that the seller viewed the video?
This is fascinating. I was not using tracking through BombBomb originally when I started sending these. And when I realized by talking to sellers that they were not getting my video, that's when I changed everything. So I went back and now I sent it through BombBomb. And I think it was last week when we got 8 contracts, I think, in last week. And there were 9 of the email videos that went out that the listing agent opened the email and watched the video, and the seller did. 8 of those 9 we got accepted. So one of them we didn't. All 8 of those, we were not the highest price. I mean, a lot of them we were like 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th down. Awesome. But I also had, that I know of, I think 7 other offers that were made that the listing agent and the seller, neither one of them opened the email, watched the video. So we didn't get them. So I look at those and is it the end all be all? It is not.
No.
But if it's a tipping point, that's all I care about. So I look at that, and but those numbers of the agents that are not submitting it or looking at it or sending it, I realize, well, I'm putting my paycheck, because when an agent refers somebody to me, I'm holding their paycheck for 30 days. Well, I also realize if you're going to make an offer with my client, I'm also giving you my paycheck if you're not going to submit it or it's not going to get to the seller. So I put my investor cap back on and said, well, hang on a minute. I'm good at what I do. I want to be sure I get it to the seller. So that's when I realized I need to start working around the process, because my numbers don't lie.
What's fascinating is this in this business, regardless of the market, we always talk about how important it is to differentiate yourself.
Oh yeah.
And it just kind of seems like when you're in a market like this, when it's just a flurry of activity and it's so easy to make the excuse, oh, well, there's all these all cash offers out there, but it's more important than ever before to differentiate yourself now. And, right. And how do you do that? You do that by being personal, like really personalizing it. I thought you had mentioned at one point that sometimes you have the buyers on some of these videos. Is that something that you played around with or thought about?
I have. It does amaze me, because I am really deep with BombBomb, and I'm really deep with videos. And I have not found many agents. And I was like, I can teach y'all how to do this stuff. Because I mean, when I tell my clients, stand in front of the house and take a selfie with you in the house in the background. But I've also met with some clients, and I've shot a 30-second video with them, or I had them do a 30-second video and send to me. And I included that as well. Now, I understand there's folks that say fair housing or whatever. You know what? If I'm going to go knock on your door and say hello to you, a real live human being, I don't care. I mean, I'm not saying I don't care, but my heart and my integrity is pure the whole way through. And if somebody gets an offer and they see Bob and Carol or Bob and Steve or whatever, it doesn't matter to me. It's human beings interacting, trying to serve each other. So yeah, I do it all.
Did you just say you took a 30-minute video
30
of
seconds,
the buyer standing in front of the seller's house?
30 seconds. But I have shot a video with them. Yeah, I definitely have shot a video.
And then you send that and you include that in the.
Yeah,
that strikes me as maybe creepy.
And you know what? but that is such a great statement, because when I sent a video to an agent. And I had her website tab open. I started the video there. Then I went to her LinkedIn tab. Then I went to her Facebook tab. Then I went to her Instagram tab. And I saw when her birthday, I saw everything, and it freaked her out. And Lily, she said, like, that's like stalking. It's like, well, I actually have a person on my team, and her job is to stalk you, because I want to know who I'm calling. I want to know who the family is, because we are on our game. And just the way you feel about that is how great we are with what we do in the loan process. And when we got done, we got that offer, and it made her second guess and say, I have just never experienced. And I'm like, I know you haven't, because nobody's doing what we're doing.
Well, also, you shouldn't put your information on the internet.
Well, I know. It's like, how did you get that? It's public information. But she was really taken back, and I was driving home from work that night thinking about it, and I thought, I want them to be that way, because nobody in the industry does this. And it made her second guess. And I said, that's what I'm going to do for your clients. That's what I'm going to do for my clients. We're taking care of them. We got it all covered.
And you're also really kind of like you said, subliminally almost, you're pre-framing the experience that the agent's going to have. If you're that thorough on making an offer, how thorough are you going to be through the entire process? Right?
My goal is to make an offer a day. My goal is to make an offer or call the listing agent ideally a day before. And that is something that agents get, they know what I'm doing, but like, well, you can't send the letter until I'm like within seconds of sending the offer. I'm like, you don't understand what I do yet. I want to send this a day early, because if I send it a day early, they realize how unbelievably proactive we are. I don't want to be reactive and have to do something in 5 minutes. I want to be so early that they're like that impressed. Because they're like, well, I got a call in, or I'm like, you'll never call me because I'll let you know. And so I'm setting the stage up front. I got you covered.
So let's dive in here for a second.
Proactive versus reactive.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that you work very closely with BombBomb. There are a number of good solutions out there. Ricardo actually just posted a really great promo code. If anyone wants to try BombBomb, wants a discount, join.bombbomb, that's BOMB, just right after each other, bombbomb.com/West will get you a really great promotional discount. How did you, Alan, land on BombBomb as your solution?
I had heard about it, but didn't really know much. And I went out to, I'm in Next Level Loan Officers, a coaching group, and I went out to Vegas for an event, I don't know, maybe 2 years ago. And Shane Kidwell spoke for 15 minutes and talked about a social media strategy and talked about video, and something clicked. And I came back, and BombBomb was having their first little event in Denver. And I came home and said, I'm going to fly to Denver. And my wife's like, why are you going to spend the money to do that? It was like the craziest thing, because it wasn't specifically in my industry. It was something totally different. And I said, I know I need to do this. And I went out there, and it was a commitment for 3 days. And I saw the power of what I could do. And I literally said, I'm just going to go all in. And I came back, and the very first day, the next day I got in, I shot 53 videos that day, and it was Katie Barlow. And it's been an evolution in process. But I also spent probably 4 months trying to do Vimeo, YouTube. I spent months looking at cameras and lighting and all this garbage. And when I got out there, I realized this is there's other platforms. It's the simplest, easiest thing that I can do. I can send a video faster than you can type a 1 paragraph response. So I do them all day long, every day. And there may be others cheaper, but I don't care about that. What's going to be the fastest thing I can do? I am an evangelist, and I've got an affiliate code. I love BombBomb. It's incredible. I use it all day, every day. It's like one of the secret ingredients of what I do.
It really does put a face to the name.
Yeah.
So when you're it just adds a totally different layer to that relationship.
Oh.
So I think super powerful.
Yeah.
Well, in any of
Scott, what
our
were you gonna say?
if any of our loan officer friends are out there, this is something, Ricardo, you and I have been doing for years, is when we master these technologies, then we take that and we go out and we teach classes to agents on how to use these technologies. And that's how we build relationships with agents that are built beyond the transaction. Right. So you're building value, because when you become a master at that, I can only imagine you've got agents. Probably another problem you have is agents knocking on your door. Can you show me how to do what you do?
Yeah.
Right.
The interesting thing was, I did a financial planner. A lot of my business with the financial planners. I did a financial planner's loan, personal. And about 90 days later, I got his email monthly update. And it was BombBomb. He watched all of my videos, and then on his own, he went and signed up for it and started using it. And I called him and says, oh man, Alan, your stuff was awesome. And he signed up for it. And I now have gone in and I've taught his office how to use it. And I work with a lot of them now. So it was really, that was the interesting thing, is that he jumped in right off the bat. So but it is a great tool. But as with anything, it's like doing 50 push-ups a day. It's great. How many are going to do it? Not many. And I've taught people how to do this over and over and over again. Some are going to do it.
You got to get over that. You got to get over that hump.
That's it.
Of the discomfort. Here's what I love. Here's what I love about tools like BombBomb, and the fact that you're tracking all of your data.
Oh yeah.
I do weekly training or semi-week, like bi-weekly training for my reps.
Yep.
What I try to do is, I used to send them out just as an email or a newsletter, or maybe set up a webinar. I migrated everything over to BombBomb, so now I can see at a very granular level who's paying attention to the training and who's not. So if somebody says, I don't get how to use it, like, yeah, I could tell you haven't logged into a training in weeks. It just allows me to track all that stuff. When I was the national trainer at Cloud CMA, my goal was to talk to at least 2 to 3 different real estate offices a week.
Right.
Sorry, not a week, a day, at least 4 days a week. So I used to send these cold emails out, and I would track who was opening my emails and who was watching my quick video intro. And I would sheepishly follow up with the people that were opening the videos and that were opening the emails, because I knew there's some level of interest there. They just maybe have some questions or a scheduling concern. So I would pick up the phone and say, hey, Scott, don't know if you got my email yesterday, but I knew that he opened it 3 times and watched the video twice.
Right.
So it was being able to use that data to provide me with something like actionable that I could go out and do.
Let's jump to the contract. When I got accepted last week, I normally do not work nights and weekends. And I tell agents that I don't work nights and weekends, but I did have an offer, and I knew when we submitted it, the agent said there's like 20 something offers already. That agent opened my video, I think it was 12 times one day. So Sunday evening at like 9:45 p.m. And I don't normally, but I get a pop-up on BombBomb. She opened up my video like boom, 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 boom. So I knew she was at the end, and I called her on the phone at 9:45 at night and said, hey, it's Alan. Thank you so much for watching my video. Just tell me, what do you need to know? I know you're down to the wire. Let's just talk for a second. We spent 5 minutes on the phone, and the deal was done. But seeing that and seeing it pop up and knowing to strategically take action on that, she was blown away that I knew she was looking at it. She was equally blown away that I took an initiative to call her in a very friendly way and say, I know you're trying to figure out what to do. And we got that deal. So there's huge power in that.
So you're utilizing BombBomb a lot on the offer process. Do you use it throughout the escrow period?
Oh gosh,
yeah. On a regular basis, are you using canned? Are you using the like update status updates, or are you doing personal updates? How often are you sending your videos? Actually, I guess a better question is to unpack is all of your communication, or the majority of your communication, video?
Yeah. Well, here's my philosophy. I don't want if anybody ever calls us while a loan's in process, we've blown it. We've blown it. So if we ever get a question, the same question by 2 different people, I need to go change my email template, the written version, and I have the exact same thing in a video. So it's conversational. So I'll go, and I've got some that I'm doing again because things have changed in the last 6 months. So during when the loan's in process from start to finish, there's probably 7 or 8 emails that go out that are automatic updates. So I tell them they're evergreen. So it's the same thing. So when we order your appraisal, there's a specific email and video that goes to the clients. There's a different email and video that goes to the selling agent, and a different one that goes to the listing agent. So I've built a lot out. So there's always the same 5 doggone questions about, hey, your appraisal's been ordered. Well, what about blah, blah, blah? So I answer all of those. So guess what? They don't call me. So
you're way ahead of what problems could come up.
Oh man, I'm addressing everything. So, and same thing, some of these, if they're getting a gift letter, they don't understand that process. So I have built out an email and a video where I explain it in great detail, recasting, all these other things. So if they ask it, which is not a normal thing, but if they say, hey, I'm going to get a gift, I click a button and an email with a video automatically goes to them, explaining it in great detail. And the cool thing is, and I use Mortgage Coach as well for every client. And the awesome thing about, and I really, my very first video was Mortgage Coach. And there were things I was missing that I knew, and BombBomb filled that need. And I use the screen recorder a lot. But when I shot a video for 5 minutes and walk them through the total cost analysis and answer their questions, the awesome thing is, you can track that. So I had a client we closed recently, and I went back, they watched the video 37 times. So what that means is at 1 o'clock in the morning, when they woke up thinking about buying their house and nervous, and they open my video and they watch it again, and then they watch it again at breakfast, and so they're not calling me. They're not calling their realtor. and I've answered their questions. And normally when I send something over to them, like when I do an initial review and send it with Mortgage Coach in the screen recording, when I call them on the phone and say, you got any questions? No, we're ready to go. What you need? And it's, so I'm trying to build everything out, but I do want to add on the front end, a really, really cool personal connection. And that, if there's any, like, what's your secret power, Alan? My kind of 3 taglines is real, raw, and honest. When you meet me, I am the same on Sunday as I am on Wednesday. It's conversational. It's not a commercial. It's not, texting and all this mess. I don't like all that. It's just as if you were sitting in my office face to face, or we were having coffee somewhere and you're my friend and my neighbor. Let's chat. Let's talk, figure out what you're trying to accomplish. That's the secret. And that's the beauty that COVID has taught me. That the great thing about COVID for me is I couldn't get a lot of clients to meet as much face to face. And I know that's like my secret deal. If I can get with you, I'm probably going to work with you. Well, now 99 out of 100 of my clients, we actually connect with on a video. And when I do see clients at closing, I've shown up at closing and their kids are sitting on the couch at the attorney's office and they jump up and run up and hug me. And I'm going, what's going on? And they're like, Alan, they've watched every single one of your videos. They feel like they know you. You're the rock star, which is cool. But I've also done initial reviews and mom and dad and the kids are there. And and I tell them, if you've got kids, bring them in. This is a huge experience. So I'm trying to change the face of everything that we do. Because, we're fighting fintech. We're fighting the big name companies. What's my separator? Advice, guidance, direction, human interaction, human connection. But that also was what's built out unbelievable long-term game plan. So when somebody calls me, I'm setting them up for the next 2 and 3 and 4 times that I can help and serve them or somebody they know. So that's really
investing in the long-term value of that relationship every single time.
I feel like that diss to Ballistic Missile Mortgage, the diss to Ballistic Missile Mortgage is totally uncalled for, Alan. These people are here to serve you from their call center to take your call because they care about you as an individual.
Right.
And you're definitely not a number in a giant machine.
Right.
Well, and I think that's so important. One of the things that we're dealing with here in the escrow industry, similar to you guys, is, we're subject to disruption from these push button get service companies too. There aren't that many push button get service escrow companies yet. They're trying to develop that. But, every time somebody push buttons and gets realtor service from, maybe a Redfin or maybe even worse, a Zillow, they've got services, they've got lenders, they've got title, they got escrow that they make their money off of on the back end. And we can't compete against that because we're not given the opportunity, right? The consumer is never given a chance to even choose these services, even though by law, theoretically, they're supposed to be, right?
Right.
And so I think it's, really incumbent upon all of us to try and get out ahead of some of this, tell the story and be discoverable up front. Or in your case, you're kind of preempting all of this by sending a video straight to the sellers, sending a video straight to decision makers and saying, hey, look, we might know each other through these means, social media, right? You figure out what the connection points are.
Sure.
And then also, here's kind of the story of who I am and who the people are that are working with me. And you should care about that. And going back to a question we asked earlier, I do think people still care, maybe not all of them. Maybe not even most, although I would argue it's probably closer to 50-50 than the skeptics might think. And any little difference maker you can get in a market this hot and this competitive, I think it matters. And what's the downside of taking that shot?
Well, the thing I've found, and one of the liberators, you eventually get to a point in your career and you realize, who is my client? Who's my ideal client? I am not for everybody. My value system, what I stand for, what I represent, what I do, it may not be a good fit for you. And that's okay. Go somewhere else. Let somebody else take care of you. You probably will call me back, but that's okay. And the ones that understand what I do, and that's with my financial planners, my realtors, my closing attorneys, if they're on board with what I'm trying to accomplish and do, and because I'm a brand ambassador of what they do in the same way, if it's a great fit, awesome. And if it's not, there's plenty of business out there. There's plenty of people for us to serve. We're not going to be everything for everybody, and that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah,
You know,
that's awesome.
I wanted to take a half a step back because Alan, when you were talking about your videos, your evergreen videos during the process,
Yeah.
something that Ricardo always says is there are not 10,000 questions about buying a home. There's only 10 questions asked 10,000 ways. And that is so true. And by creating those evergreen, because for the buyers, this is probably their first home or the first home they've bought in many, many years, but you're doing multiple a day. So when you're taking these steps that that are inevitable questions or steps in the process, and you're answering questions that they don't even know that they have yet, that just builds so much credibility up. Again, contributing to that lifetime value of that client. Josh says this all the time. We're not here to close this loan for you. We're here to be your partner in any financial transactions you have in the future and anybody that you care about.
Right.
And that's what we're here to do. This is our audition.
Just think about how good it feels to know that something is being taken care of, and like, damn, I didn't even think of that, but you answered it even like you answered it ahead of time. Think about how good that feels, especially with something as big as this.
Right. One of the things that
you're not giving them loans, you're giving them peace of mind, and that's more valuable than anything.
Right. Most folks tell you try to keep the video 30 to 60 seconds, and my initial ones are. But I also realized, when they're buying a house, they really want more information than we think. We know what we're doing all day long, but I have some of them that are 5 minutes long, and I'll say, hey, we've ordered your appraisal. Here's the typical questions. But then I have a second video below, and I say, if you'd like to know some more about the pitfalls and what do you run into when if it appraises more or less, what can you do? I've got like a 7 or 8 minute video where I go deep, and I've got one that actually interviewed an appraiser with me. And I said, hey, let's talk about what are the top 5 or 6 things that come up? And it is those deep questions that people want more information. And I, at first thought, nobody's going to listen to that. And actually they do.
Things you forget.
Yeah.
There's things you forget to ask.
Well, in things that people would never even think of, like, how do I hold title? So get in a conversation with a title officer and what does it mean and how you hold title,
right.
or what kind of insurance do I need for my home? What kind of homeowners insurance should I have? A high deductible, a low deductible? What's the best thing that I could do? And that's the power of all of this video, because those conversations are evergreen conversations. And when you can create that content, you can use it over and over and over again, and you're building a library of your expertise, right? That just exists out there that people can always find, and it's just easy. Well, when you've programmed it right into your CRM, so when that question, in 2 steps, they're going to have to address this. So let me tell you now that this is coming up in the next 2 steps so that you're not panicked. I think you said in the very, very beginning, I think the first thing you said is no surprises.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. No, that's just such a great philosophy. And then just backpedaling from that, what does that mean? That's just incredibly valuable. And I think at the end of the day, if you really unpack that no surprises promise, it looks precisely like what you've built. Like, really, right. It does.
And I found that a lot of those, if you simply have it, housed on a website and they've got to go look for it, they're not going to. Mm-hmm. But if you send it to them with your because I've got an exact roadmap. So they follow the yellow brick road. They know where they're going to go. And if I send it to them and I kind of force feed it to them and I tell them these are vital, if you don't watch these, and some of them I've got, if you watch this, you get some little bonus, but I tell them if you don't watch these, there's some important things that may affect your closing, whatever. But I tell them that. But if you give it to them at a certain time, I think sending them out via email, and some of them I follow up with a text to let them know it's important to go check it. They need it that way because they're not going to go find it on your website or on the internet. You need to kind of force feed it, hold their hand and guide them through the process. And it's a work in progress. I'm continually changing what I'm doing every day, every week. I've got a list on my whiteboard in front of me of new ones that I need to now go change because our industry has changed. And I need to shoot a new video. I literally today changed 2 of the templates that I got some kickback on my pre-qualification and then my pre-approval. I'm like, I need to go change 3 things. And I had my assistant go change it. And it's kind of where we are, but I do love that.
That's awesome. Well, hey, we're rounding the corner on the conversation here, coming near to the end. I want to
rounding the curve.
So I want to Alan, give you a shot here at maybe presenting to us something we weren't smart enough to ask. So in this whole process, we've tried to drill in, but is there something people ask you that we haven't asked that you, or just something you think is really important for people to understand if they're going to try and pursue a strategy like yours?
The biggest strategy, biggest takeaway for all of this, and this goes, Ricardo, back to BombBomb and doing videos, just be you. Just be real.
Don't overthink it.
Don't hit record and feel like you got to read a script or change like a preacher gets up and changes his voice when he's on the pulpit. Just be real. Don't go back and play it again and redo it. And just shoot the video. Be kind, be sincere, be honest, and send the thing out and be done. And that's all you need to do. That's probably the biggest thing I can say to anybody trying to get started doing this.
Yeah, that's huge. I mean, I know, for example, when I've recorded videos, I've started and stopped them and started and stopped them 4 or 5 times, you know, and these aren't like videos even for YouTube or something. This is stuff. I use a tool called Loom for my projects. And what it does is just creates like a little video within a screenshot. And so I'm walking people through something. In other words, it's a highly technical conversation. It's not something that requires a lot of polish. And I'm tempted to start and stop just because it's critical. So I think that piece of advice is really, really solid. Alan, where is a good place for people to find you online, or how can they get a hold of you if they want to learn more about what you're doing, or if they're interested in working with you as a prospective borrower?
You know, I'm on Facebook, ALAN, Alan Christian. You can find my personal page, Alan Christian Mortgage Team, business page. I've got a LinkedIn account. I've got an Instagram account. And this is new. I've got a new YouTube channel just getting built out. I'm building out a brand new website. It's alanchristian.com. That'll take you to the first page of where you can get all my contact information. And, you know, it'd be an honor, you know, for folks that are, you know, looking to buy or sell or maybe refinance, it could use some good, honest help. I'd love to talk to you. Reach out.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Great.
So thank you so much. Ricardo, where can people find you?
Over at ricardobueno.com. I do weekly tutorial Tuesdays. So regular video series teaching you how to use new tools and products. And then I have a weekly podcast where I interview other top producing agents and thought leaders in our space on how to level up our marketing efforts.
And what did you talk about this week? I actually didn't catch the email.
That's a really good question. I don't remember. I talked about how to build or create more like authoritative content so that you stand out as the local market expert. We kind of talked about that last week here on the Marketing Trench. Once upon a time, I was the VP of Real Estate Solutions for a company called Agent Press or Copy Blogger. We launched a product called Agent Press and launched about, 300 or so hyperlocal websites. So I had condensed all of that sort of strategy and knowledge into a 100-page ebook that talks to you about, you know, how to build your brand, how to build your authority in your local market. I have, you know, several dozen pages of copy paste headline templates. And yeah, you guys can get that over at ricardobueno.com.
Yeah, so don't miss that. Scott, where can people find you? What are you up to?
Well, you can find me if you look for me, but I don't want to be.
You say you don't have a number?
No, find my way
That's
home.com,
amazing.
our website where we connect consumers directly with mortgage experts. Our mission is just to keep consumers out of call centers.
Scott's like, I don't want to be found.
That's awesome. Okay, so, and you can find me, I'm Dustin, over at Lighthouse Escrow. That's my escrow company. LighthouseEscrow.com is our website. And if you are a buyer or seller trying to figure out how much cash you're going to get upon the close of escrow, or how much it's going to cost you to buy a house, just go to our website, scroll down, you will see a calculator that estimates your closing costs. It's for people in Southern California, so just a heads up on that. Pricing varies nationally and outside of our region, but if you're in Southern California looking That is a free closing cost calculator. Very, very helpful. In fact, I just used it the other day, trying to get a sense of what it might, what I might make if I were to sell my house at some point for a down payment on another house. Don't call me, agents. I will call you. And it's always good to know. And I'm keeping my eyes on the market. So lighthouseexpert.com is where you can find us. If you are watching this video and you really like the content here with Alan, we have other people we've interviewed as well. Some really great content talking about how to build your video marketing strategy. We had a blueprint conversation about that just a few weeks ago. You can find us on YouTube. Do a search for The Marketing Trench. Subscribe to us there and get notifications when we go live. We try and go live every single Friday, 1 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. Got my times mixed up there. So yeah, join us there at YouTube, or you can listen to us on any of your favorite podcatching platforms by looking for The Marketing Trench. We invite you to subscribe for us there. That's it for us. It's been a great conversation again, Alan. Thank you for joining us.
Thank
Until
you,
next
Alan.
time, this
Honored.
is The Marketing Trench.
Thanks, y'all.
Yeah.